I just got done watching one of the most ridiculous videos I ever seen in my life. I actually caught this video on Officer Tatum page. Now, you can't find the original video, at least I can't find it. I've seen a bunch of people that did different reaction videos to it, but I don't really want to use their clips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you images and explain to you what took place in this crazy Karen video, where Karen is a stereotypical white lady who is like hiding behind a tree watching these two black boys minding their business, and then she goes up to them and start cracking them with a whip like they not supposed to be at the park. She called them monkeys and had a few racial slurs to say to him. Now, I guess this was like some kind of woke internet commercial to raise awareness about racism or something to that extent. So the comments, I think they got completely ridiculous. The video probably got 1,000,001 thumbs down and negative feed. So what they did, they took it away. But the thing is relevant because a lot of black people really be thinking that racism is playing a major factor in America. And in this video, it just shows you how ridiculous racism actually is. And I don't know where you got to go and what state you got to go or what city, what township. Somebody let me know where a white woman is actually carrying a whip from like the 1700s in her purse that she just got on deck to pull out every time she see a black person out of place, and then go up to them and start cracking them with it. But she didn't start cracking them with it. She just started cracking the ground because the acting was terrible. It didn't even look like she was hitting them at all. And the black kid that was in a wheelchair that she allegedly crapped with the whip, he went home and talked to his stereotypical black mom, like, oh, you know, something happened at the park. She's like, what happened? Tell me. I need to protect you. You know, of course, no father at the crib. So the mom went to the park and then checked Miss Karen and made sure that it don't happen again. And, you know, but a lot of people always, you know, black people always talk about racism is crazy. You got to be afraid to go out of your house. In the real world, you don't have to worry about some random white lady hiding behind a tree with a whip in her damn purse. I don't even know where the hell you can purchase a damn whip. You probably got to go to Vegas to Pawn Stars to find something that historically classic. I think my grandma used to actually have one hanging on her wall. I don't know where the hell she got it from, but I'm sure you probably could get a pretty penny if you was to pawn it or something like that. But where the heck do you get a leather whip like that and just start hunting down black people? And by the way, black people are not being hunted down by racist white people. Black people are not being hunted down by racist white cops. That's a myth. I know Black Lives Matter torch all that, but the number one people killing black people are black people. When you go to a playground, the number one people you got to worry about shooting up the park is other black people. Black people are victimizing other black people. Rarely do you got to worry about Karen. These two black boys, even the one in the wheelchair, could have whooped that white girl ass if they wanted to. She weighed, what, 110 pounds? Man, I would have smacked that damn thing out of her hand and whatever. But anyway, this doesn't happen in real life. Liberal ideology does not relate to reality because they push their racist narrative that white people are just so-called victimizing black people. And then when you think about even mass shootings, the number one people committing mass shootings are black people. Pookie and Ray Ray always shooting up the club. When you go to the playground to play some basketball, you got to worry about Pookie and Ray Ray, not some random white 110-pound lady. This is completely ridiculous. That's why they took it offline. Trump got these white people thinking that they could do whatever they want to do. And, you know, like LeBron James, I can't even go to the grocery store, and it's swastikas and nooses hanging outside of his house, although there's no proof or evidence of that. I mean, look, it's no real hate crimes that go on. Look, I mean, think about it. We got Juicy Smollett, who just got his ass in trouble trying to plan out his own hate crime. Then you got the NASCAR driver, Bubba Wallace, who it was a string hanging up in his garage, and they said it was a noose, and they made a big deal out of that. A lot of these so-called hate crimes is always stage typically, because even if you white and you racist, especially in the year 2022, it's just too weird if the crime looks staged like it's a scene out of the 1700s. Now, I get it. Black people was enslaved in this country, and only 7 states in this country. Not saying that slavery wasn't a big deal. It was a big deal. However, it wasn't just white people that participated in the slave trade. Because really, slavery wasn't really necessarily a kidnap, because it was slavery all around the world, that the number one participants of it was people of African descent, especially in Northern Africa, where they enslaved a bunch of Caucasian people during the same time that the European enslaved black folks here in the States. Now, that's why I feel like a lot of, especially black people, are angry about slavery, because we're not taught like the full context of world history. And then y'all only think that what happened in America is relevant, and it is, but the whole world history is relevant when it comes to the full context of slavery. Now, the Western society is the first civilization that realized slavery was morally wrong and fought for Africans' liberation in African countries to free their slaves. And honestly, slavery is still going on in certain parts of Africa, especially Northern Africa, today. So, you know, everybody participated in it. It was a worldwide thing. Whips wasn't really unique to just white people. When black people practiced slavery, even here in the United States, where some blacks practice slavery, they was whipping their slaves with whips. And on top of that, slavery existed in 7 states in the United States. Most black people in the United States, and I know you never heard it, was not slaves back then. You ever heard of a black slave in Oregon or California? No. Slavery existed in the Confederate South, and that was it. Most white people, I know you won't believe it, wasn't even interested or thought slavery was morally right. Now, slavery goes so far back, like I always say, black people are really the kings and queens of slavery. When you look at the full context, look at the Persian Empire. What kind of people you think them was? Them was light-skinned people and black African descent people enslaving each other. The Roman Empire, what do you think they'd practice? They kidnap people and put them in slavery and put them in gladiator arenas to fight against lions, tigers, and bears, right? Just for entertainment. So they wasn't even really being used for labor. They was being used to be slaughtered for entertaining the emperor and all of the people that was participated in gambling, and I got this slave and you got that slave and we gonna put this money on this. I mean, the Roman Empire was a crazy time period, because then the new emperor got nominated based off of who their father was and their blood or whatever. So you got people with Down syndrome becoming leaders of a giant empire, and they're turning their horse into a priest and their dog into like a general of an army. Like people that got completely mental problems, Down syndrome, was becoming like Roman emperors and leading and controlling what was going on. That's one of the reasons why I believe that the Roman Empire fell, although it's multiple reasons why the empire fell. But I think that just because your daddy was such and such, that don't mean you're going to be a good leader and know how to run anything. So anyway, like I'm saying, this video with Karen is completely blown over the top. And like I said, they took the video down because it was absolutely ridiculous. And it was this promotion of racism, another way to divide the country. And here's the thing. I don't believe that there should ever be a such thing as a hate crime. Hate crimes are racist. If you're white and you do something wrong, you should go to jail. That should be the end of the story. You're going to get a lot of time depending on what the crime was, but that throwing a hate crime on it, all that's going to do is divide the people. It's just like the white boy who went up and shot up the church. Okay, give him the death penalty. That's fine. But what's the point of labeling it a hate crime? All that's going to do is divide everybody else who didn't commit the crime. And mostly hate crimes are meant to target just white people, because really, I never heard of not one time a black person got charged with a hate crime. Just like the whole Asian hate thing, the majority of people that was going out and victimizing Asian people was black people, but guess what? It was blamed on white people. Completely ridiculous. Like I said, racism does not play a major factor in America, and I think that you should be taught the full context of history, but you don't know anything. All you know is some Hollywood elite movie called Roots, where they went to Africa and put a bunch of chains on black people and drove them all over here on boats. And that's nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, black people was already here in the United States with the native Indians. And honestly, I know that people like to say, oh, the white European man enslaved and slaughtered the so-called native Indians. And there's way more context to the story. I mean, think of the Mexican-American War, and there was people from Spain, the France was over here, and British was over here. It was a giant like war right here on this land that we in now. Now, it would have been conquered one way or another, because the Indian folks, they was killing each other left and right. All kinds of tribes was battling. Like I said, Mexico, you don't hear about it, but they was marching their way up to take over this land now. And they got into it with the France. France got a lot of land, and then, you know, the Europeans purchased land from them. So it was just way more to the story than just, oh, these white pilgrims came here and just slaughtered everybody. It's just way more to the story than that. Anyway, do your research. Don't just focus on 100, 200, 300 years of history. Focus on world history. Then you might not be so angry if you actually focus on world history, because world history proves that white folks or white people of descent, just like black Africans of descent, neither side is any morally better than the other side. Black folks was never just no friendly little creatures walking in the wilderness that didn't hurt nobody. Black people contribute to the mess that we have today. Black people contribute to slavery as well. Black folks contribute to the slave trade as well and profited from it as well as the white man did. Now, Hollywood has their agenda to make you believe that it was just white folks. White folks led everything. And y'all believe it because y'all dumb. Anyway, my name is Nate Savage. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for listening.